who is with me in studio, being Cynthia Seleta. Of course, she's already told us a bit of her story, but Seleta, I want us to continue, and I really do appreciate, you sharing your story with us. But now I want you to take us to what happened after high school, right after you joined college.
Oh yeah. So yeah, once I cleared high school, I joined college immediately at the Kenyan Institute of Mass Communication. During my second semester, I got pregnant. At that time, I was confused. Yeah, I remember I opted for abortion. But while I stayed, I also remembered that my mom, my biological mom, as I was told, got me while she was in Form 2. So I told myself that I was at a higher, advantage. So I decided to keep the pregnancy. My pregnancy period wasn't an easy one either, because actually I had a difficult time. I didn't tell my parents. I wanted to, but I didn't know how. And I was doing a certificate program, so it was I was clearing in July. So I decided to keep it to myself. I would hide it. I carried it to term. At that time, the person that I was pregnant for, we were not talking at all. Yeah, I just told him I was pregnant, and his reaction wasn't so positive. So yeah, we weren't on talking terms at all. I gave birth to my daughter in October.
What year?
2015.
Okay.
Yeah. So after giving birth, my dad had already, we talked, and he was, it has already happened, there's nothing, because after I cleared college, my certificate program, I left home, I went to stay with my cousin in Kitengela. Yeah, so I had not seen my dad all that period, so, and then I went and gave birth in up country. I traveled to Kitale and I gave birth there. So when he came, we talked, and he was, okay, it has already happened. There's nothing we can do. The guy we had started talking, so he was supporting me 1 or 2. After 2 months, actually after 1 month, because in December, my dad, he suddenly became sick. For 2 weeks. He was just in hospital for 2 weeks, and then he passed away after those 2 weeks. Yeah, to us it was shocking, because I had seen him 2 days before he was in hospital. We had talked 2 days before. He was strong, he was jovial, he was, and then he was, he was admitted in Aga Khan, and he died after 2 weeks.
Sorry about that.
And yeah, it has been the hardest for me to cope up in all the hardships I've gone through. His death has, I have times I just break down, and I just still cry. It has been almost 4 years, but at that time I didn't know what direction my life was taking. Because now I was a young mother, I still wanted to go back to school, and then my parent dies, and I now realize I'm alone in this world with this child, and maybe my brothers and my stepmom. So what I did, I came back to Nairobi after his burial. And then I went to my cousin's place, the one who was hosting me while I was pregnant. Yeah, she used to struggle too, so we'll struggle together to raise rent. I remember I did a lot of odd jobs, like I sold boiled eggs. For some time I would boil them and hawk them around the place we stayed. I also sold phones in town, and I did, there's a place in Babadogo, Frigokin. You make mishiris, so, and then they weigh per kilo, Yeah, that was the toughest. I would stand there. I don't know, I'm working with hardcores, those people who are used to these jobs. My kilos, when I take them to the weighing scale, are 12, others are 25.
Wow.
So
Double.
I remember I would cry sometimes, and I would tell God, no, this is not the direction I want my life to take.
Yeah.
So I stayed home for a year. And, you know, in our school, you stay home for about a year and then you go back for upgrading. So I can say I stayed home for 2 years because I didn't go back with my group. Now I went back to school in 2017. And I thank God because my dad was a civil servant, so his pension has paid my school fees.
Wow.
And I just cleared last week.
Wow. Wow.
And
Great.
yeah, I can say this journey has been so long and so tough. There are days I've stayed with my child who didn't have food, and I will look at her drinking, because at one point I had to take her back to up country because I didn't know how I was going to take care of her. You know, one can host you for some time, but with the Nairobi economy, yeah, someone gets tired. So yeah, when my cousin got tired, I went to up country. I left her there for some time. Yeah, I remember in up country that days she would even eat gravy. She was just a year old, and it would hurt me, but I rarely showed because now I'm supposed to be strong for her. And each time I would pray and ask God, please open a door, let me just go back to school. So that was always my one prayer. I always wanted to go back to school. So I went back to school, and I've survived. As long as I've been telling myself, as long as my school fees is paid, I'm okay. Yeah, so my child staying in a country used to disturb me a lot because she was far. So one time I talked to her dad, and he agreed to stay with her. He stays in Thika. And yeah, we have had our fallouts, but I am so grateful to him because he gave me at least something, you know, a reason to, when that child was in a country, I didn't know what to do, you know, because I would get calls, you know, the child doesn't have this. But I'm also grateful to my aunt who was staying with her because she was also struggling, and she was there for me too.
Sure.
Yes, but I want to thank him for taking care of her. You know, my friends used to keep telling me, hey, I've never seen such a man who can take care of this child. Yeah, he's been bringing her to school. Sometimes if I can't go to Thika to see her. And to me, this period while I was in school, he's, yeah, ata kama, you know, he was, I don't know, it's heaven, it was heaven sent. I think it was a prayer on my side answered.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what Beyond the Scars is all about, Saleta. Just people who've been through a lot in life, but eventually made it. And so far, most of your prayers have been answered, and definitely it's going to be an awesome way for you all the way. But now I need to get your closing remarks, Saleta, and just in a minute. And in that, I want you to include, you know, if there's someone who's probably watching you and they're going through what you went through right now, or they did go through it in the past and they're not yet over it, what would you tell them? Just include that in your closing remarks in a minute.
Okay. What I would like to tell first to high school students. While in high school, it's okay to be popular, it's okay to, but try and limit your popularity. But also, if you're among the group of people that are, you know, the popular ones that harass and bullying is real, it happens, but you don't know what it can do to someone. There have been a lot of cases of people, of young ladies dying in schools, and no one is giving an explanation. Yeah, parents should also try and communicate to your children. Try and know what is going on in this child's life. And yeah, anyone who is gotten pregnant and you don't know what to do, what I can tell you is that God comes through. He provides for you. Abortion sometimes is not even an option. Actually, it should not even be an option, because at first it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough. But eventually, as this child keeps growing up, you are going to find a way, and she survives, they survive. You just don't know how.
Somehow.
Yes, and don't give up in school. School is, it's the only key. It's the only key with the, you know, today's world. Yeah, you have to go to school in as much as you can. and love your children. Love your children. My daughter she always demands for a lot of attention, and I always make sure I have given her that kind of attention, because one thing I don't want her to go through is what I went through. Not feeling loved, not feeling accepted. It destroys someone. Kabisa.
Certainly. And we wish you all the best even with her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Seleta, for joining us. And I see there's so much feedback. Lots of people saying that you really have an inspiring story. And there's one here in particular by Jali's Esther. She says, Cynthia, you're my hero. I love you, my classmate. I always believed in you. Do you know her?
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, so she really appreciates you. And we do. We also do appreciate you. And a lot of feedback just saying that you have a really inspiring story. And people asking you to just continue, press on, raising your daughter and raising her the best way you can. Yes. Thank you so very much, Seleta.
Thank you too.
And that's where we end the conversation on Beyond the Scars today. I'll be sampling your feedback at the end of the show, as I did